Ransomware is on the rise, and it's reported that 85% of organizations had at least one ransomware attack last year in 2022. This statistic comes from the new Veeam 2023 Trends Report. Obviously, this is quite an alarming figure, but is it all down to AI or is something else going on? We're going to investigate today. But first, what is ransomware? It's a malicious piece of software that will sweep through a user's system, encrypting the victim's files, then demanding a hefty payment to decrypt them. It can infect a person's machine through several different ways. The most common way is that somebody will send you a phishing email, and these will then try to trick an individual into clicking on the link and downloading a piece of software, which will then execute and install ransomware. In 2022, there were on average over 11 ransomware attacks per day, and ransomware attacks are becoming much more targeted. Cybercriminals are now targeting specific organizations such as healthcare and critical infrastructure organizations. The report also found that the average ransom payment has increased significantly in recent years. In 2022, the average ransom payment was $57,000. Now, there are a number of reasons why a company might choose to pay a ransom. In some cases, this is down to them just not having a backup and unable to restore without paying the ransom. There's also challenges with organizations where they might be concerned about their data that might have been compromised and they don't want to let their customers and employees know, or they're worried about their customers and employees. However, there are a number of different risks associated with paying a ransom, so we would really not advocate doing it. First, there is no guarantee that you'll get your data back. Second, paying a ransom will encourage cybercriminals to target other organizations. And third, it might make you more of a target. We've seen an increase in things like double extortion, where they make you pay the first ransom. If you pay that, they'll extort you again by other means. So be careful when deciding whether or not to pay a ransom. In the early days, ransomware was relatively simple and easy to detect. However, ransomware has evolved over the years, and AI is making it more difficult to detect and also making attacks more sophisticated, allowing the attackers to get around security controls. AI has allowed attackers to create new ransomware variants that are more difficult to detect and remove, and this makes it extremely difficult for security vendors to build new technologies and systems that will be able to keep up with the latest threats. Another method is that the AI technologies can be used to create realistic phishing emails and scams that will allow the attackers to target victims and of course make it more believable, and then of course getting them to click links and install malicious software. But it's not just AI that is helping cybercriminals. Polymorphic ransomware is becoming a serious threat. So what on earth is polymorphic ransomware? Basically, it's a type of malicious software that changes its code each time it's executed. To make it simpler to understand, let's imagine you have a lock on your door. You can buy a lock that is designed not to be picked, but a skilled lock picker will still be able to pick it. However, if you buy a lock that changes its shape every time you lock it, it will be much more difficult, almost impossible for a lock picker to pick it. Now, polymorphic ransomware is like the lock. It changes its shape every time it executes. Therefore, it's much more difficult for antivirus software to detect and remove. The evolution of ransomware is a serious threat to businesses of all sizes. So here are some steps that business can take to protect themselves from ransomware attacks. Keep your software up to date, use a firewall, use antivirus software, and back up your data regularly. That's one of the most important ones, and why the attackers are now going after backup servers themselves. Make sure your employees know how to spot phishing emails especially. These scams are getting more difficult to detect. I know it's really hard, but you've got to work on a new plan to help to protect them against that. Now, finally, here are some additional tips to protect from polymorphic ransomware specifically. 1, use a layered security approach. Don't just rely on your AV only. Have a plan in place to respond to ransomware attacks as well. You don't want to panic when it happens. Work with law enforcement because they will be able to help you if you are a victim. And also the information they gather can be shared with other organizations that are potentially attacked as well. So by taking these steps, businesses can help to protect themselves from ransomware attacks and the financial and reputational damage that they may cause. Check out in the comments below the IC3 document. It's really, really good, really informative. And also watch our video on cyber insurance because we talk about how you can get insurance to cover some of the costs of a ransomware attack. So that just leaves me to say thanks everyone for watching and interacting with our posts because it helps to spread the word to other businesses. See you on the next video.